Welcome to 12 Ounce Sports Radio and The Burn with Mitch Show. Here's your host, Mitch Bernstein.
Good evening, everyone. How is everybody doing tonight? This is Mitch Bernstein, the host of The Burn with Mitch on 12 Ounce Sports. It is Tuesday, October the 6th. We have had another lovely day here in the Philadelphia area. Hope where you are listening, you had a really good day too. Weather-wise, we've been very lucky. And I'm glad to be here tonight with you. As I look out my window, it's clear, it's calm, and a beautiful day. And happy days are here again for many folks in the in Tampa Bay, because we know that Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup. We know that the Philadelphia Eagles won their first game. They beat the Niners on Sunday. How about that? We're going to talk in a few seconds about our guests, our regular guests, and some other guests coming on tonight. And the Philadelphia Phillies didn't necessarily fire their general manager. He was basically let go, reassigned. We're going to talk to, again, a guest tonight about that. But you are here with me on 12 Ounce Sports. We appreciate it very much. Shout out to my social media manager. She's got a new job, graphic designer. Congratulations, Kelsey. You're doing great already. I know you are. So, way to go. Way to keep things going here for me. And let's talk about the show. So, tonight at 6:15, we will announce the winner of the Louis Tiant print done by Jason Eggert, EbbetsSports.com. Jason did a great job. Thank you, Jason, for doing this for me. It was an honor to work with you. I hope you folks who were able to enter the contest by liking and retweeting and following Jason and myself, the Burn with Mitch account on Twitter, were able to take a look at what Jason's doing, what he's done in terms of his artwork. It's just truly amazing. So we'll have the winner announced at 6:15. And then at 6:20, as usual, we will get the digs with Deeg. The Eagles digs with Deeg. We're going to talk to Brendan at Eagles Talk on Twitter about the Eagles win. I actually was watching the game. First time I've really ever done this. Watched the game and took notes. Wrote down every single play the Eagles made from the line of scrimmage. And have some notes for Brendan. We're going to talk about positives. We're going to talk about negatives. We're going to talk about, let me see, we're going to talk about positives and negatives and get his prediction for what he thinks is going to happen against the Steelers this coming Sunday. At 6:50, I'm going to talk a little bit about some folks who've been on my show, sports artists. I want to give them a shout out because they are, number one, amazing in what they do, varied and diverse in what they do. And they're actually doing a virtual art show with the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. And I'm going to shout them out. And if you're available if you're able to go to NLBMart.com. That's NLBMart.com. Go there. They have a virtual art sale. I suggest you go check it out. So many different artists, and I'll mention some of those in a little while. But you truly won't be disappointed when you check out that website. That's at 6:50. At 6:55, we will have David Esser. David is an expert and editor for at Section 215. He's the lead Sixers writer at Philly Sports Network, and he tweets all the time about the Phillies and the Eagles. So we're going to talk a little of both with David. Going to get his take on the Phillies. Matt Klentak's. Was he pushed? Did he leave on his own? Got reassigned. We know that, but What does he think happened with him? And then we're going to talk a little bit of Eagles and maybe even Sixers because he is the lead Sixers writer. Talk about the hiring of Doc Rivers as the new coach for the Sixers. And at 7:30, we have Dan R. Epstein. Dan is at depstein1983. He is co-director. This is really pretty cool. He's the co-director of the International Baseball Writers, Internet Baseball Writers of America, Association of America. Let me get that one more time. He is a co-director of the Internet Baseball Writers Association of America, and he co-hosts the IBWAA podcast. So we're going to talk to Dan, kind of all around baseball. He's been nominated for a SABR award. So Dan's got a lot of expertise in the baseball world. So a really good show, a lot of good information tonight. Looking forward to it all. I'm glad you're here with me, and let's get going. So before we get going, I need to let you know a little bit about our sponsor. So here we go. You've heard me talk about MyBookie. We've got sports back, as you know. I actually heard the line today for the Lakers and Miami is 7 points. So you want to go on MyBookie and maybe get a bet out there. You can get in on the action. 12 Ounce Sports is hooking you up with a crazy deal that when you sign up and make your first deposit on mybookie.ag, when you make that first deposit on mybookie.ag, they will match your deposit up to $1,000 when you punch in the promo code 12OZ Sports. That's 12OZ Sports. All caps, no spaces when signing up. When you sign up on mybookie.ag, use 12OZ Sports, all caps, no spaces. You get your first deposit matched up to $1,000. Lots going on. Football, I think the biggest gambling sport there is. Though I don't really gamble much. But if you go on mybookie.ag, there's a lot there, folks. It's not just sports, it's a lot. All sorts of games and fun activities. So check it out. Get over there. Remember, you get they'll match your first deposit up to $1,000 when you put the code in, our code 12OZ Sports. And remember, gamble responsibly. Okay, gamble responsibly. Also, so you know that you're listening, wherever you're listening right now, we've got an opportunity for you to get on lots of different venues. Most of us, myself, I use, depending on where I am, I'll use Twitter. Facebook is available, YouTube, but here's probably the better one, which is Zingo TV. You're home for the best live talk shows covering all aspects of the sporting world and live game broadcasts. We are on Zingo TV on channel 761. Catch our action. Whether it's just me and you hear the sound and the audio, or there are some of our guys on the 12 Ounce Sports crew that also are involved with some video. You can see their faces. So all you have to do is on your TV, download like Hulu or Netflix. Get on there, download Zingo TV. Use promo code 12OZ when signing up. It's really that simple. And you'll get on there, go to channel 761, and you'll hear my voice right now, and you'll hear and maybe see some of our other guys, hosts, sports show hosts, and some people like the video and the audio, obviously. Some of us will be getting there shortly. But also check out 12 Ounce Sports. We got a lot of blogs on there you can read up on, lots of podcasts. So a lot of not just good, really great sports on there, sports blogs and podcasts. A lot of great information. It's always good for me, I always like reading lots of different folks, lots of different opinions. So we have a lot of guys writing on there. Check us out. It's an awesome place to be. All right. 12 Ounce Sports, and then you can also go on 12ouncesportsradio.com. There's also a lot of stuff on our store, so feel free to check us out there. lots of cool little things happening on 12-ounce sports. All right, so before we get into it, before we talk to Brendan, let's see what's going on in the sports world right now as we speak. So we have baseball going on. We had baseball going on last night. The division series are happening right now. So as we speak, well, let's go to the past. Atlanta beat the Marlins 9-5. If you remember last week, I didn't want them to win, I do believe that Atlanta will win this matchup. The Yankees really beat up on Tampa Bay yesterday, and they're going at a game 2 tonight. So we'll see what happens. And you know what is with the Yankees? It's like the Cardinals. I think it's like a mystique. What happens? They get in the damn playoffs and they start playing well. Oh man, it drives you nuts. So the Yankees are playing Tampa Bay tonight, 8 o'clock on TBS. Later this evening on FS1, you've got the Padres playing the Dodgers. Love to see the Padres put up a good fight there for that series. Love to see it go a full 5. And then currently playing are the Astros and the A's. Astros are up 5-2. So it's going to be interesting. They won last night, and again, rather handily. It's going to be interesting for all of those naysayers who really were, and me included, the cheaters, the Houston Astro cheaters. If they're finding a way to cheat, I don't know that anybody's found it yet. I know at the beginning of the year it was interesting because they really weren't hitting well, and everybody was thinking, yeah, there you go. We see you, Astros. We see you cheating, and you're not going to go much further. And again, it's 60 games, but you know they're putting it to the Oakland A's right now. So that's the baseball update. Let me see. Let me go to. So we had, it's interesting when you're looking at the NFL these days. We're going to talk about the NFC least with Brendan. The Eagles are actually in first place with a 1-2-1 record. And it was funny because everybody was bitching out Doug Peterson, the coach, last week. Why did you punt the ball and go for the tie? Well, the tie has helped them become mired in first place. How about that? So very interesting. The Cowboys lost again, big to the Browns. They put up 49 points in the Dallas offense. That's on the Dallas defense. New Orleans again. Detroit scored lots of points. A lot of points getting scored these days. If you look at the scores, over/under betting is going to be really interesting as we go forward because the lowest score this week was 17-9, Rams over the Giants. So how about Buffalo? How about those Buffalo Bills? How about that? Oh my gosh, they're 4-0. Go figure. Let's see. So let's go through the standings real quick. Buffalo 4-0, Patriots 2-2. Cam Newton, COVID, but they did okay. They're doing okay for now. Not last week, but okay. Jets 0-4, Dolphins 1-3. AFC North rather competitive when you now include the Cleveland Browns in there. Cleveland and the Ravens and the Steelers. Well, Steelers have played only 3 games due to issues with COVID, but they're 3-0. Ravens are 3-1. Browns are 3-1. AFC South, the Titans are 3-0, and the Colts are 3-1. You got Jacksonville at 1-3 and Houston at 0-4. AFC West, not a lot of competition. We'll see if the Raiders can continue to hang in, but the Chiefs are truly the ones to beat there. NFC, they are a combined 3-12 and 1. How about that for an East, for a division, huh? NFC North, you've got the Packers at 4-0 and the Bears at 3-1. Nick Foles couldn't pull it out this week as he did the week before. But, it'd be interesting if the Bears could stick around with the Packers all season and give them a fight. That'd be kind of fun to watch. Tampa Bay and the New Orleans, Tampa Bay 3-1, Saints and Panthers 2-2, and the Falcons 0-4. And then the NFC West, you got the Rams at 3-1, but Seattle's at 4-0, and you got Arizona and the Niners at 2-2. The Niners are hurting now, lots of injuries we saw on Sunday Night Football against the Eagles. But football's back, and it is fun to watch. I will tell you that as a sports fan, this is a great time of the year. It's who doesn't like getting through the week, going to Sunday night football, Sunday afternoon, Sunday night football, Monday night football, Thursday night football. I really like it. It's fun. You get a little break from Monday to Thursday, so it's really kind of you get a little rest, and then after Thursday you only have to wait 2 more days. So I love it. Baseball playoffs going on. Basketball is finishing up. Like I said, Lakers and the Heat are playing this evening, and let me see what we got here. Lakers and the Heat. 9 o'clock game on ABC. Yep. Lakers -7. So we'll see what happens there. We will see what happens. And for those of you who like tennis, French Open's going on. All right. Clevenger. Oh, I just read this. I just saw this. Mike Clevenger, Padres, is starting game 1. So he is good enough to start. That is good news for the Padres because he was amazing this season. And it would be really, really interesting to see the Padres go up 1-0 tonight. That would be really, really fun. I'd like to put the Dodgers a little teetering if they end up the Padres end up winning. We'll see how they respond. Let me check out one more thing here for this game with the Padres and the Dodgers tonight. So, we've got... so they do have Walker Buehler, the Dodgers, starting tonight against Clevenger. All right. So we'll see. Should be a lot of fun. I'm looking at the lineups. You don't really have a lot of issues. Let's put it this way: that lineup of the Padres is nobody except for Tommy Pham as a DH hitting below 250. So that's a heck of a lineup. And then the Dodgers side, you got Jock Peterson as the DH hitting 190. You got Max Muncy batting 192 for the year. Other than that, you've got a decent lineup to throw against too. Cody Bellinger didn't have a good year hitting. He had batting 239. So it should be a fun series. It could be a pitcher's duel. Could be hitters duels, if you were. Run scoring. A lot of runs scored for that series. So a lot of fun with baseball in the playoffs. Lots of fun stuff going on. Helping us not so much focus on this COVID issue that we're going through, this pandemic. And yes, we did, by the way, mention that the winner. Well, I said we're going to give it away, and we didn't give it away. I got to give the answer before Brendan calls. Got to give the winner. The winner of the Louis Vuitton print is Roger Nussbaum at Random Roger. Congratulations, Random Roger. Roger Nussbaum, please DM me your address, and I will get that out to you. I guess I had people hanging on that announcement. Yes, so we thank everybody again who entered the contest. We'll continue to do some more contests. Absolutely we'll do. Go check out ebbetssports.com. EBBETS sports, SPORTS.com. at Jason Eggert, JasonEggert. See what he does because truly, truly amazing. Another artist that's just phenomenal to see what he has done. Roger Nussbaum at Random Roger. Roger, you have won randomly the Louis Tiant print. So happy for you, Roger. Congratulations. My social media manager will put that out there on Twitter. And let's see some excitement from Roger. Hello, who do I have on the line here? Oh, hold on a minute. Hey, Brendan. Hold on, Brendan.
Oh,
All right, there we go. How you doing, Brendan?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
I am fine. We had some gorgeous weather in this area today, and we've had some nice weather, and I hope we were enjoying that too. How are things?
Things are good. I had a little hop in my step on Monday after that Eagles win, I felt a little more energized, if that makes sense.
Well, they did win. How about that, huh?
How about that? Our first talk after a win.
I don't know if I told you. I may have made this mention, but I said to people, this is a game they'll probably win because they're not supposed to. And look what happened. They won.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was somewhat confident during the week, and then when it hit like Friday, Saturday, I kind of just had this like, oh boy, like this could get ugly, like Sunday night football kind of thing, in the bright lights. We're about to see what this team kind of has, and look, it was a great win. We can kind of get right into it. It was a great team win from start to finish. It was great to see these guys kind of rallying around each other. I think the most encouraging thing was to see Carson Wentz play like he did. He carried this offense. He was the best player on the field, in my opinion, all game. Maybe Darius Slay or Derek Barnett too, but Carson Wentz was awesome. He was the best player on the field for the Eagles, and that's what they needed, right?
Yeah. Now, yes, and I told people, and I don't know if you were listening, but this is the first time I ever took notes because I knew that I wanted to kind of minimally dissect the game with you tonight. And so I did that. I took notes. I wrote down every play that the Eagles had, including when they were on defense. So I kind of want to go over some of the stuff with you if I can. Do a couple of things. I want to go over some positives, okay, from the entire game. And yes, it was a team win. Go over some negatives, okay. And then I want you to give me grade marks for the offense, the defense, and special teams, and then any standouts. Does that sound good?
Okay. That sounds perfect.
All righty. So my positives were these: the Wentz runs, the Dougie play calling of misdirections. There were at least 3 of those. And some rollouts by Carson. And that's on the offensive side. The defensive side, listen, how many takeaways did they have? Did they have before this game? 0.
Yeah, they had 0, yeah. They ended up with 3.
They got 3. So, what was your thought? What are your thoughts? Now, I will also put on the negative side, I'll just throw this out there. Too many Sander runs up the middle.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to pick on Carson because this is what I want to do a little bit because I wrote it down. The pick was terrible. He had some long shoulder throws. He had some low passes. And one time, he's lucky he didn't get picked because he threw it away down the middle and not out of bounds.
Yeah.
Okay?
Carson wasn't spectacular, okay? You could still... The flaws are still there, which is kind of discouraging. We talked about this. There's something going on with his footwork and his upper body trajectory when he throws the ball. It looks like he's getting too much arm movement. I don't even know how to kind of explain it, but it doesn't look as fluid as it has. And you're right. There were definitely some misthrows. Carson is throwing at the feet of Miles Sanders was key. Miles Sanders was coming on that kind of Texas running back route where he kind of go out and then carve back in. And if he hits Miles Sanders on that throw, he's got nothing but green grass in front of him. That's a touchdown.
Yes.
There were some misthrows for sure. But just watching Carson all day, he didn't look like the Carson Wentz from week 1 and 2 and 3. That's like towards the end of week 3, you saw like he carried that team on the Cincinnati Bengals team that touchdown. He looks the part all game. Like you have to kind of take a look at what he had in front of him. Like he had Travis Fulgham, who I don't even know
Who?
Exactly. No one even knew who the hell he was before the game, and he came up with a big touchdown catch. And that was an absolute perfect throw from Wentz.
Yes, it was.
An absolute dime into the pocket of Travis Fulgham. You had Deontay Fournette, another practice squad guy, as a wide receiver. Greg Ward was your number 1 wide receiver going into the game. Greg Ward has 144 yards receiving so far this year. That is ranked 78th in the league, and that ranks first on the Eagles.
Right.
So put in perspective how bad the Eagles receivers have been so far. That should put in perspective. So he didn't. And the offensive line was Jason Kelsey and his band of misfits. Yeah, Jason Kelsey up front, and then Lane Johnson was in and out of the game. I don't even know if Lane Johnson played 50% of snaps in total. He was coming in and out of the game. He's battling the ankle soreness right now.
Yep.
Yeah, Jordan Mailata making his first start at tackle.
Yes. And
he was great. Yeah,
yes.
I liked it. He was awesome. Yeah, he was great to watch. I don't know if there's any fans out there on Twitter, go check out Baldinger. I think his last name is
Brian Baldinger.
Brian Baldinger. Sorry, I forgot his first name. He broke down every snap of Jordan Mailata, and like he was great. Yeah, he had the false start, but that's gonna happen. Okay?
Yes.
The false start, that's a mistake. It's gonna happen. You gotta take the good with the bad. I thought he was awesome, and it's just back to Carson Wentz quickly. Like he won the game. He did enough to win this game, and that's what they needed. Okay, they had nothing to work with. If you threw out 25 other quarterbacks in the NFL with that offensive line and with that receiving core, they would have lost the game. There was only about 5 to 8 quarterbacks in the NFL that I would be comfortable with throwing them out there with that personnel group and say, win me this ball game. And he did it. And he was like, and you brought up the legs, which is important. I was digging into some stats on just his running ability. He's actually first in the NFL in EPA per run. So what that means is expected points per attempt. So how many points is that running attempt going to score you? So how important is that run basically in the game? He ranks first. Not named Lamar Jackson. I'm not counting Lamar Jackson's like runs that are like scripted runs. Like
right.
when under scrambles, the quarterback scrambles, he is first in EPA on rushing, which is great. That means he's running in timely opportunities. He's taking what the defense gives them, and they need him to use his legs, and he's done that because that's the best part of the offense right now. Unfortunately, is when Wentz is getting on the outside. I still think that Doug Peterson could do a better job of getting him on the move more. I was calling for it more during the game. Yeah. I know there was a couple bootlegs, but even the bootleg, like why is there a guy in his face every time there's a bootleg?
Yeah, right.
Like I don't know what's going on. They bring in Rich Cantrello, who is supposed to be some like bootleg master, and he hasn't been able to inject that into this offense at all. That's a topic for a different story. But anyway, yeah, I still think Wentz did exactly what he needed to do. It wasn't no beautiful performance. I know the stats aren't going to show it, but like he did exactly what he needed to do, and I thought he did great for what he had around him. And look, it took the whole team, and it was a great performance from Wentz. Again, the offense. Look, the offense. I think they only had 267 yards of total offense. So, it wasn't the greatest offensive performance, but he did what he needed to be done.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, like you said, if you look at Wentz's overall performance, I try not to make this like a nitpicky thing, and it's something he does have to work on. And I think he rushes, and that's why the balls go low. But overall, like you said, him using his legs like he was doing when he was healthy back in the day is something that I think the defense has to be aware of, right? I mean, he made the one. My wife and I were going, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" And he got the one. He came around the right side, and he got through. He got past the line, and he gained a bunch of yards.
Yeah.
He made that throw to Fulgham perfectly.
Yep.
He made some other good throws. Listen, no quarterback is perfect. I'm not saying he should be perfect by any means. But again, I'm going to go to Doug now and say Doug needs to, yes, he started out, my wife and I were like, what the heck? I think it was the first play of the game. Did they, and we turned it on late because my wife, we didn't realize that the game was at 8:20. We thought it was 8:30. Did they, who won the toss, and did they defer to the Eagles? Did the Eagles have first possession?
Yeah, they deferred it to the Eagles.
Okay.
So the 49ers won the toss.
Okay, that's what I thought. So I'm looking at the when I turned it on, it was the second series of downs. Play action. It was a play action to Ertz. It looked like for -4. Sanders went up the middle on second down for 6. 3rd and 3. He passed it to Ward for a first down, and then on that next first down, it was a misdirection rollout to Ward for a first down. My wife and I looked at each other. I said, "What the hell are you doing?" And then he threw the pick.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like so. Doug did a little bit of things that he should have been doing the first 3 games.
Yep.
And it was fun to watch. A little bit of misdirection, right? I still want him to go deep, and they didn't again, except the Fulgham, and that wasn't really deep. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a bomb necessarily.
Yeah.
So
I think like with Doug. Look, I was kind of harping on Doug during the game with the play calling, especially early on. I can't stand watching Carson Wentz sit back there and be this pocket passer when he's not.
Right.
It drives me mental. But like, he did have some good he did have some a couple like misdirection plays. He had Adrian Killins running on jet motion almost every snap.
Yeah.
I don't know how fooled the 49ers were from Adrian Killins doing that. Adrian Killins, he ended up getting a reverse carry, and it was like -12 yards for him. And then he ended up being cut yesterday. So
he did get cut. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, look, you're trying something, like some sort of creativity. You know, I can't harp on a coach for doing that, right? Like trying something new. Like I think the motion kind of pre-snap will be kind of Rager's thing when Jalen Rager gets back. You'll want to see more of that. But look, you harp on something that I want to talk about, the deep ball. I think Doug needs to realize that going deep, taking your shot, is what's going to carry this team. Because look, they only went deep. They only tried to go deep twice in the game. There was that one. There was an awful pass from Wentz to Richard Rodgers. It was kind of a floater that floated up in the air, and the DB got it. That could have been a deep play if it was a better throw. And then the deep shot to Fulgham. Okay, so you went deep twice, and you were 1 for 2, and you got a touchdown. Right? So Doug needs to realize, like, look, if it's not there, like a lot of these plays are 50-50 catches. Like that Travis Fulgham catch, like scientifically they broke it down. He had like half a step or like a half a foot of separation, and it was a 24% chance of that ball being caught, and he still caught it. So like, you know what I mean? Like you got to take the shot. You got to try, right? So I think that's going to be important going down the stretch. Because look, this team is depleted with speed. The Deshaun Jackson, I don't know. We still don't have an update on him. We'll have an update tomorrow. I doubt he plays on Sunday. The hamstring's a nagging type of injury, so like I assume he'll be out at least another week or two. Right, it's at least gone another 2 weeks. So like those are 2 speed guys. So they're going to have to continue to kind of slowly vanilla offense, like moving up the field slowly, right? But like that doesn't mean you can't still try deep shots. And I think that's what Doug needs to kind of keep in the back of his head. It's like you need it. Like this is what's going to win you these games. It's like you can go as slow as much as you want with the personnel you have if you don't have the deep threats, but you got to at least try. And I think they have. I think like I don't know how good Fulgham's going to be. Like I don't know. He had two career catches. He had a great one, but like who knows how good he's going to be the rest of the year?
Right.
Okay. So who knows what the personnel is going to be? But you at least have to try to extend the field, and I think Doug will do that. Like I have confidence that he'll kind of watch the film and be like, look, like we went deep twice. We were 50-50, and that touchdown saved the game. So why not keep trying?
Right. I mean, that's what I told you, we were talking about last week. It was like, at least try. Because if you, again, just, it's simple football math, if you will. You open up that secondary. You force them to go deep. You give them you show them you're going to go. Then they have to be on the lookout for that, and that pretty much will open up the middle. Why? I understand that Sanders, was that true? Wasn't even paying attention to this, but I did after the fact. Miles Sanders didn't play the last, 17 snaps? Is that true?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't look at the snap count total of Miles Sanders. I think he was underutilized in this game, and he wasn't on the field at the end of the game, which was weird.
I know.
In the last stretch, they had Corey Clement in, Boston Scott. And I was trying to realize, I was trying to wonder why, like what was going on. The only thing I could think of was fumbling issues. Maybe that fumble against was it LA that Miles Sanders had maybe kind of scared him away. But in their total stats, like Miles Sanders has a less fumble percentage than Boston Scott and Corey Clement. So I don't know what the issue was there.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing? What? And it didn't hit me because they were, and of course, again, the defense at the end of the game, the third string quarterback, I just like, oh my gosh. It's like.
Did you think they were going to come back? I kind of had this feeling that they were going to score.
Yes, I did. Because if you watched it, you went soft. I'm thinking, and I compared this to hockey. You got to lead, and then you start playing soft in a big game or really any game, and you let the offensive team dominate, the other team dominate in your zone, in their offensive zone. Inevitably, when you don't play your regular game of hockey and get the puck and go on the offensive, something bad is going to happen. And and Schwartz did the same thing. He played soft again. How many times did they blitz and it worked this past weekend? They played good.
Yeah, it's like let's change your thoughts about the defense. Great transition. I think the defense was spectacular, and this defensive line, man. Like they're starting to get what money they put in for. You know what I mean? They take the big money to Javon Hargrave. They take the big money to Fletcher Cox. They take the big money to Malik Jackson. You spent the first round pick on Derek Barnett. Like you put a lot of your resources and assets in the defensive line, and it's starting to pay off. And then that's what they need. If the team's going to make any sort of noise in this year at all, and I still think we'll talk about later the overall picture of the team. But if they're going to make noise, give me the defensive line, and they carried the team. Like they were able to get pressure with 4, 5, 6 guys constantly. They were giving Nick Mullins fits.
They were. I mean, it was fun to watch that line have an impact. That was really, really, really pretty cool to see them play so well. And then of course, you got turnovers, which they hadn't had all season so far. So that was interesting. It was funny watching the game, and I told my wife, I said they really need an interception here. And who was? Didn't they have 2 picks or did they have 2 fumbles? I'm looking at my.
So it was 2 fumbles, I believe.
Okay, so I said.
2 fumbles and a pick.
Yeah, I said to her, I said they needed to I think I said something like take the ball away, and the next thing you know, boom, it happened. So yeah, they put pressure on, and yes, that Darius Slay, man, he made that kid can play. I mean he's exactly what they bought. Like he's exactly what the Eagles paid for. He's worth the 3rd and 6th round pick for right now. Okay, like in the short term, he is exactly what the Eagles have paid for. He's a true shutdown corner. And look, I was very skeptical of him coming into this year. Really?
29-year-old.
Is that right?
I was. He's 29 years old, getting paid big money. Like that's technically not the way you want to do business. Okay, he's trading for a 29-year-old corner.
Okay.
And giving up $50 million. So I wasn't big on the trade. I've said this before on the show. I was never big on the Darius Slay trade.
Okay.
But he's completely proven me wrong. He's been lights out. He's been exactly what the Eagles have paid for. Every dime of that contract, the 3rd and 5th round pick, has been worth it. He's completely exceeded expectations, in my opinion. And look, he's made some big plays for this team. He's locked down. He was giving Brandon Ayuk. Deebo Samuel wasn't visible. I don't know how many snaps Deebo Samuel had, but I know Darius Slay was on him when Deebo Samuel was on the field, and look, he's completely shut down one side of the field for the Eagles.
Yeah, it was a very good. It was fun to watch a defense play this past week. Now, again, this is football. Everybody has injuries, but the fact that they came to play and they did what they had to do, and they helped them win the game. It was pretty darn good. So it was fun to watch. So I saw a tweet today that you put out there about JJ.
Yeah, but me thinking the time's up.
Yep.
Yeah, I do. I'm sick of the experiment after watching. Look, I know it's probably not going to happen. Like I have a hard time seeing Howie Roseman kind of realize he made a mistake. He likes to hold on to players too long and too short.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. And he was a second-round pick. He was a second-round investment. So I have a hard time believing that he will be cut. But look, he's not bringing anything to the table. When he has played, he's done nothing. Travis Fulgham has already more catches this year than him. He's made a bigger impact than JJ Arcega-Whiteside. Mm-hmm. So why should you give those snaps to JJ Arcega-Whiteside instead of Travis Fulgham? That's probably what's going to happen coming up this week. I don't know the health of JJ Arcega-Whiteside. He might be back. But, if he's coming back, he shouldn't see the field.
Right.
He hasn't done enough to see the field. Travis Fulgham has 1 snaps over him right now. And that's not saying a lot. He had 2 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown.
Yes.
But, my point is I don't see where this experiment's going. I think the sooner you pull the plug, the sooner you can get another body in there to try to help your franchise and help your team. But JJ Arcega-Whiteside should have not helping your franchise right now. And I don't think he will. I'm done. I don't see how he can make this drastic improvement in the next 13, 14 weeks where he can help the Eagles win a football game. He hasn't done that since he's been in the league, and you can't say he hasn't had his chances. They played him. He's been a starter for 7 to 8 weeks on this team. They've given him opportunities. They've given him a chance to run routes. They've done it. There's nothing else to see here. That's all I'm saying. I know people were on me saying, what are you talking about? I just said, where is this experiment going? He's going to be cut by the end of the year or by this offseason. I have a very hard time believing JJ Arcega-Whiteside will be in an Eagles uniform in 2021. So why not just do it now?
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. I heard today on some sports talk about the Eagles. Would they in fact trade? Well, they got to wait for God to get back, but Richard Rodgers, he's the tight end, right? Or is he? He's a tight end.
Yeah.
So he had he played pretty well. Would you? The trade deadline is week number 8, I think I heard them say today. Again, they have the bye week 9. Would you package an Ertz and another draft pick to get some other guys to help this team, i.e., get rid of JJ, bench throw, release him, and then pick up another player just to get him to the playoffs because the playoffs you're going to end up in this division winning 7, maybe 8 games.
No, I would do that. I wouldn't make a single trade going into this year. Look, this team. Look, I get where you're coming from when trying to get some wide receiver help, but trading Zach Ertz is not it. Not right now. Zach Ertz he's had a rough start. I know he has. He had 4 catches for 9 yards in that 49ers game, which is bad. But he's still your best player. He's still your best weapon. I think Ertz will get it figured out. I think there's a lot of mental things going on in Ertz's head. I think Zach Ertz will bounce back. And I think he will be a top 5 tight end in this league by week 17 by the end of this year. I'm not worried about Ertz. I think they'll get it figured out there, and they need him to. And the other thing is, this roster isn't good enough to make these trades to make this big splash and go get the guy that's going to carry us to the Super Bowl. No, there's so many holes on this roster. That's the big picture thing. Yes, this win was exciting. Yes, it was great to get a win. But does it change the overall? My overall eyesight on the team? No. I still think this team's a 7-8 win team. And that 7-8 win is probably going to win you the division.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. If the Eagles go 7-8-1, they probably win the division, which is nuts. Yeah. So my biggest concern is if we go 7-8-1 and win this division, are the fans going to stop harping on Howie Roseman and stop putting pressure on him to do something about this? Or put pressure on Jeffrey Lurie just because we make the playoffs? That can't happen. No matter what happens this year, they need to realize that there's a glaring holes on this roster. They need to infuse the team with youth. They need to have a quantity of draft picks and a quantity of youth in the team. So trading away Zach Ertz and draft picks or whatever is not going to. No, those are moves that the Seattle Seahawks and the Kansas City Chiefs do, not the Philadelphia Eagles. We're not there yet. I would ride this roster out this year, see what happens. Mm-hmm. If we can get healthy, if everyone can get healthy and Carson Wentz can get back to form, then hey, maybe we got something here. Who knows? But no, I would stay away from the trade deadline. I would stay far away from making any trades at the trade deadline. I can't emphasize it enough. I really hope Howie Roseman and them don't do anything. Let this year play out and then see what you got after this year and try to infuse the team with some sort of youth movement here. But no, I hate the fact that they're talking about making trades. No.
Okay. I hear you. You were very adamant about that, Brendan, so I will let that go. I'll let you calm down a little bit and take a breath. I
was thinking about it too, because like they could use some wide receiver help. Like if you could flip. Look, if there's some wide receiver free agents out there that you maybe want to pick up, go for it. Like you know what I mean. But don't be trading your first round pick. Don't be trading Zach Ertz for anything. Just like if you can find a way to help the franchise without like harming the future, then go for it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's go to Pittsburgh. Sunday. What do you see happening there?
The defensive front of Pittsburgh scares me. Look, this offensive line did play well. I didn't play well. They played okay. They played what they could. Look, they threw out this is their fourth. They threw out their fourth new set of offensive linemen in 4 games. So they're kerfuffled all over the place on the offensive line.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Mailata gets to start again. I'm really hoping Lane Johnson is 100% healthy. And you still got Herping and Matt Pryor there. So like that is a bottom 10 offensive line in the league, if you take a look at it. And the Pittsburgh Steelers defensive front is scary. They are second in sacks, only behind the Eagles. They should be first in sacks for the Steelers. They had a bye week this week, right? They didn't play the Titans. So the Eagles are technically in first place in sacks. But the Steelers defensive front is scary. Like guys like TJ Watt, Bud Dupree. They really have to be careful with Carson Wentz in this game. They can't sit back in the pocket and have these 5-step drops and wait for routes to develop. They have to scheme around this defensive front. And if they do, then the secondary of the Steelers isn't very good. Like there's holes in the secondary that they can attack. So if you can get the ball out early and like yards after catch and like move in the pocket, like the offense that we're all looking for, then they got a shot. Am I confident? No, I'm not confident going to this game. The Steelers, in my opinion, are better. This is the first week that I think, like roster to roster, the Steelers has just turned up a better roster than the Philadelphia Eagles, in my opinion. So it's going to be tough. A lot of it's going to depend too on who comes back. Like this injury list is at the Eagles. It's like everyone's hurt, right? So and it's still Tuesday. So when we'll have a good idea tomorrow of what the injury scene is going to be like. So like early on, no, I'm not confident. Spread's coming in at 7. Vegas doesn't think we're going to win either. So I think the front 7 of the Steelers is going to cause some problems.
Give us a couple of guys to watch besides Roethlisberger on the Pittsburgh offense.
On the Pittsburgh offense, there's not like Big Ben is kind of their focal point of their offense,
right?
And then like you got it, Juju Smith-Schuster is the key guy, and the good thing, again, the big thing is that you got it. You traded a 3rd and 5th round pick for to replace 4 of this type of team. Right? Juju Smith-Schuster is their go-to target on offense. He's the number 1 receiver. So this is why you get a shutdown corner.
Yep.
It's for type of games, right? So that's something to watch for. James Conner, the running back. They have a running back duo, James Conner and Benny Snell. Let's take a look. I don't know if James Conner is back yet or not. I know he was for. I don't know if he's back yet for this week. He is back. So there you go. So like James Conner, Benny Snell Jr. and Juju Smith-Schuster. Those are the guys. Juju, yeah. So those are the guys you're gonna have to keep watch on. And look, I think the Eagles defense is going to be okay in this game. Like I think Big Ben will get his. They'll probably allow 20 to 25 points. Okay, that's probably realistic. What's going to happen? I don't think the Steelers are going to light us up like the Rams did or anything like that. It's just the Steelers defense terrifies me, especially with the injuries that the Eagles have up front.
Yeah. One last thing, I did want to say something about the Ertz thing. I understand that he was doubled most of the game, so you really can't fault him. He was double teamed, and you can't do much about that, right?
Yeah, and you know what? He doesn't look good. Like there's something going on. Like it's crazy the fact that he was talking about getting paid like George Kittle, and like, George Kittle was clearly the better tight end on the field, right?
Yes.
On Sunday night. So like the whole Zachary situation, the way they dealt with it, It's not the Eagles. Like, I'm not putting 100% blame on the Eagles organization.
Mm-hmm.
Blame's got to go to Zach Ertz. Like, apparently, Ertz and Howie Roseman were yelling at each other the week one on the practice field. The whole thing has been kind of a cluster disaster with Zach Ertz so far this season. So look, he's got to play better. Like, straight up, he has to get this figured out because they need him. Like, he was so key for the Eagles down the stretch last year in those games where they didn't have guys, where they were banged up. He was number one target. Like, he needs to get it figured out because the Eagles need him to play well. They can't have another 4-catch for 9-yard performance with Zach Ertz. They just don't have the talent around Zach Ertz to have that, right? They need him to be the best player on the field. So, yeah, look, he's got to play better, straight up.
Yep. All right. Thank you for the information, sir. Again, as usual, you are a pleasure to talk to, full of energy and information, which is great. So I really appreciate you, Brendan, again, as usual.
Yeah, awesome. Talk to you next week.
All right, Brendan. Take care, buddy.
Everyone else has left the call.
Okay, well, everyone else has left the call. There you go. So Brendan is looking for a Pittsburgh win this weekend. We'll see what happens. They got a lot of weapons, and it'll be an interesting game to watch. All right, real quickly before David Esser calls, you need to check out NLBM Art, Negro League Baseball Museum Art, NLBMArt.com. There's a virtual art show by these and other artists. Anika Arak, Greg Kreindler, Phil Hasser, Andy Brown, Matthew Lee Rosen, Ben Caraher, Blake Jameson, Mark Wellesley, Dugout Muggs. I mean, and there's a bunch more. I think there's 100, maybe 80 to 100 artists. So many different unique styles of artwork. If you're a sports fan, you're listening to this show, get on there now before David gets on. Even while David comes on in about 3 minutes, because you will not be disappointed in what you can purchase there, and all of the costs are going to support the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City. It's a great place to go for some baseball history, checking out all of those guys who played back in the Negro Leagues, some of who played in the major leagues, as you know. But you need to go check it out. The show goes, I believe, through the 10th. So if you have the ability to do that, check them out. If I had the money, I would buy a piece from everybody there that I haven't already gotten some things from. But I'm gonna pick and choose and see what I like, and have to do something because I love sports. I love unique artwork that I never thought I would because it involves sports. And I really suggest you go support the Negro League Baseball Museum because there's a lot of cool stuff there. If you haven't been to Kansas City to see that, it's a great place to go in the downtown area itself. Bob Kendrick is the president. He's such a great guy to talk to. He says he's one of the smartest guys I've ever talked to. He knows his stuff. Check out the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. If you're a baseball fan, sports fan, you won't be disappointed. All right. So, quick update before David Esser calls. Astros are up 5-2 in the bottom of the 7th. The A's are the home team. So that score hasn't changed since the show has started. And the Astros are up 1-0, so this is going to put Oakland's back against the wall. If, in fact, they do lose this game. They'll be down 2-0 with 3. The website is NLBM. If you Google, my social media manager was asking about the website. I don't want to get it wrong, so just Google Negro Leagues Baseball Museum and it'll come up. I don't know if it's .com or .org. I'm guessing it's .org. It's a nonprofit. But check that out. And then you can check out every single one of those artists' websites, too, for the artwork. So, David Esser's going to come on. We're going to talk to David about not just the Eagles, but the Phillies, too. So we're looking forward to David giving me a call in just about a second or two. So looking forward to David calling. He was very excited to come on, and as I am always excited to have new folks on, too. So he'll be calling in just a second. All right, so I'm sending him a message letting him know I'm looking for him to give me a call. And as I do, oh, here he is. There he is. David, this is Mitch. How are you?
Hey, Mitch, how you doing, man?
I am doing really well. Thank you for taking the time to give a call. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on. I'm super pumped.
No, that's awesome. So where are you calling from, David?
I am actually calling from just outside Washington, D.C. at the moment.
Okay. Did you see the president go by the other day? I don't know if you were there.
No.
Where's your home?
Okay, so I grew up just outside Philadelphia.
You did.
In the,
Where about
area? Right around the King of Prussia area.
King of Prussia, okay.
Yeah, and then a couple years back, my family moved down to Maryland, so I'm still here for university at the moment. I'm actually a senior at the University of Maryland.
Okay. I have a niece at the University of Maryland, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Yes. That's all I'm going to say. All right. What's your major, Dave? Dave, what's your major?
So I'm actually a criminal justice major.
Okay.
I found writing and reporting a little bit later into my time at college. So I just recently added a professional writing minor here in my senior year just to build up the resume. And
Good
whatnot.
for you. That's awesome. Listen, I love, I don't care how old you are. You're into the Eagles and the Phillies, which is great. And I'm sure all of MLB and NFL. So this is a great place for you to be. And I, again, appreciate you coming on. It's awesome to have some folks coming in and talking that I've never talked to. So let's talk. Let me see what I said to you. I forgot what I said to you. We'll talk Phillies first. Okay, so Klentak is gone. Was he pushed out, or did he just say, I'm done? What do you think?
Oh, he was pushed out, 100% pushed out. Reports were starting to leak around 2 weeks before the season ended that if this team didn't make the playoffs and go on a bit of a run, that he was going to be gone. They obviously did it in a PR-friendly move, and I think there was some money involved where they didn't want to have to pay his salary for him not to work for the team. Mm-hmm. So they were going to redesignate him, let him sit in an office somewhere for the rest of the year, not hurt his reputation. But, you can't have him continue to be the general manager after the direction the team's gone the last 2 seasons. So he was definitely pushed out, but they found a common ground where they didn't just completely ruin his reputation as a baseball mind. And they'll let him sit in a side office for the year, and then it'll be no hard feelings in 2021.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the fact that he's still there. According to what I heard this afternoon on Sports Talk, he and who's the interim guy? Is his name Neil?
Ned Rice.
Ned. Okay, Ned. He and Klentak are buddies. So is Klentak really gone? I mean, that's the thing that worries me. What really angers the crap out of me is that Middleton, he just couldn't say bye. And I get it. Again, I heard those rumblings too that he didn't want to have to say goodbye and pay 2 general managers at the same time. Okay, so
no, and that's an understandable reaction, being like, why couldn't they just fire him completely? Why is Ned Rice kind of just here as a placeholder where he's so closely tied to Klentak? I think the biggest thing from what I've heard just from poking around is that Ned Rice is really not going to do a whole lot this offseason in terms of long-term decision-making, that they could wait till after the 2021 season in terms of hiring a president of baseball operations or a general manager. Make sure they find the right guy to lead us through the Bryce Harper era. So I think a lot of the guys were still in the building because, you look at Andy McPhail, that's another guy who's done a pretty bad job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to have a lot of say over the next 12 months.
But who's gonna make the decisions? We need a bullpen.
That's a great question. I hate to bring negativity onto the show.
That's okay.
I don't know how competitive we'll be next year. John Middleton's come out and said he wants to cut spending because of COVID, which, whatever. Like, you're a billionaire. I'm sure you can finance it if you want to. I don't know how competitive we'll be. I don't know if they'll make any big-time free agency decisions or any big-time trades in terms of being competitive in a year.
And, so he's in the same boat, as everybody else in baseball. Nobody had any fans. I mean, they all have money, right? We get that. But if you want to, from my opinion, you want to keep as much intact as possible, right? So so if we go around the offense, and it's just too bad Reese hurt that elbow because he finally got on track, and I don't know if he could have helped score more runs than the bullpen gave up at the end, but you got Hoskins at first. I don't know. I think it's one or the other, JT or Didi. I'd rather have JT because I think you still have Segura, who did okay. Didi wasn't that great in the field this year in shortstop, even in just 60 games. He hit well, but his defense was terrible. And you have found Alec Bohm. Holy crap, we finally found a young kid who can hit the freaking ball. And his defense got better as the season went on, right? It was awesome. Kutch is a year older. Don't know what we're doing in center field. And you got Harper. But you do have a core of a lineup, right?
Yeah, and it's actually a pretty strong core. It's totally surprising when you look at the numbers at the end of the season. This was a team, if you take away the bullpen for a second, that would have ran away with the National League East.
Yes.
They had a top 10 offense. They had a top 15 starting rotation. I mean, Zach Eflin was incredible down the stretch, right alongside Nola and Wheeler. This was a really good team, and you're right in the sense that the core they have in place, if they can just retain that core, get a semi-smart general manager who just puts an adequate bullpen. It doesn't need to be, we don't need to roll this Chapman or Josh Hader out there. We just need guys who don't self-implode. If you can do that, this is a team that should win the division for the next 3-4 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, it really was amazing, and we complained a lot previously that they couldn't score runs, right? Holy mackerel! Look what they did in 60 games. Just phenomenal. I can't tell you how much. I'm a lot older than you are, and to be able to see this kid Bohm hit the ball to right field, go with the pitch, nice easy swing. Oh my God! It was beauty in motion, David, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I'm younger, but I'm old school when it comes to baseball. And one of my favorite things is seeing a young hitter go out there and use every angle of the field. He would go with pitches no matter where. It was incredible. It was really fun to watch. And that's a guy where whether you have him in the 2-hole, 3-hole, 5-hole, wherever, he was the missing piece to this offense. It made Harper better. It made Reese better. It made Gene better. It made Didi have a career year in terms of OPS. Like, it's all right there.
Yes, it is. It really is. But here's the big question. To me, if it's me, JT, you got the extension in January. You're done. We're done with you. You're with us for how many ever years? Pay the guy his freaking money, right? He's worth it. He was worth it after the last season with his defense and his offense. It was amazing to watch this guy play. You had a star catcher, all-star catcher. If they let him go, and if they don't sign him, who the hell is going to catch? Andrew Knapp? I mean, Andrew Knapp has got to be one of the worst defensive catchers in the majors. Okay? And I don't know who else they got. So what are we going to do?
Yeah, and I think the even more concerning part with hypothetically letting JT walk, because at the bare minimum he's going to hit free agency and he's going to see offers from other teams.
Yeah.
Is the PR move.
What
that signals to other free agents, what that signals to Bryce Harper, what that signals to the fan, is that you don't believe you can compete, which is ridiculous. Because, again, you look at the numbers outside the bullpen, this was a very good baseball team. Obviously they had their mental lapses, whatever, 60-game season. I'll give them a pass on that one. But if you let JT walk, the best catcher in baseball by a landslide, the best catcher in Phillies history by a landslide. If you let that dude walk out your building without giving him a ton of money, that's so bad in terms of what you're telling all the players, what you're telling the coaching staff, what you're telling other free agents. It's going to be tough to build a contender without JT on this team next year.
And the other problem, David, just hearing about who's interested in him. Do we want him ending up in the NL East? I mean, that's what you're looking at, or the Yankees. I don't know. I mean, isn't that what you're hearing?
I've heard Yankees, I've heard Mets, I've heard Nationals, I've heard Braves. Like that's
yes,
not ideal.
That's the scary part.
Yeah.
We don't want him to go anywhere. That has got to be in the thinking of Middleton. You know,
he would torch us.
Oh, you know what, David? Ever since I've been here for 25 years, anytime a decent player goes somewhere else, they kill us. Absolutely kill us. I mean, I even think Jason Worth killed us for a while when he went to the Nationals. I mean, you sit there and go, oh God, here we go. It's just so frustrating to hear this talk. And then, Clentak, well, when we traded Sisto, we knew we had JT for 2 years. What the hell does that mean? What do you mean? And then Middleton, I didn't hear Middleton's press conference this week. Did you listen to him?
I did, and he kind of backtracked on that. He came out and said that he was under the impression that they were going to sign JT right after the trade, and then they didn't. Clentak got cute with it. I think he was trying to play the market. JT had knee surgery last offseason, so maybe there was some internal belief that you could get him on a discount in the offseason. Obviously, he was phenomenal this year. I mean, he was absolutely incredible at the plate. You're not getting him on a discount. So they completely misread the situation.
They did.
That's on Middleton.
That is on Middleton,
McPhail.
Yes.
It's on whoever was in that room that initially made the trade. When you make a trade like that, regardless of what you think of Sixto, before JT even takes a swing for you, you should have had an extension in place.
Yes, absolutely. I was thinking it was going to happen in the offseason. I mean, you knew what you had. You need to lock this guy up. So going forward, listen, Nola and Wheeler disappointed us going down the stretch. That's got to get fixed. But you have Nola, you have Wheeler, and holy mackerel, you might now have Eflin. So now you have three. And we don't know what Spencer Howard's going to be like. I wasn't impressed with him at all. Maybe he was hurt. Maybe he was tired. I don't know. But I wasn't impressed with him much. When he went in, then they went down, and then so you have a potential 4-guy rotation right now. You can pick up a fifth starter anywhere, but they've got to. There's two guys. There's one guy in the bullpen you got to keep, and that's JoJo. Though he imploded at the end the last several games, that guy's got fire. He's got a freaking blazing fastball and a great breaking pitch. That guy's got potential. He could be a potential closer.
Yeah, and Connor Brogdon's right along the same
Brogdon,
line.
that's what I forgot too.
Incredible down the stretch.
Yes.
He's the guy I would like to see in the closer spot just because of his changeup.
Yeah.
But I mean, you look at those two, and there's nothing truly special about either of them. They throw hard and they have a decent off-speed pitch, and that's all you really need in the bullpen.
Yes.
You don't need $20 million closers. You don't need $15 million long arm guys. You just need a couple of young dudes who are healthy, who throw hard, who have a curveball, who have a changeup that can give you 20 pitches a night. That's all. It's not a really hard thing to build in today's modern era of baseball.
It isn't, and you have Connor Brogdon was a special. Hey, maybe they found needle in the haystack, and JoJo. It's hopeful. That's hopeful for those guys, and maybe you're looking at the 8th and 9th right there, right? Who knows? They have to have the mindset though, and that's on the pitching coach. And I think you got to give a little credit to the pitching coach this year too for what Eflin has done, right? I think you do.
Yeah, I was a fan of Price. They brought him in from the Reds. He's one of the better pitching coaches in the MLB. So I was super excited when he came in. Mm-hmm. And I thought he did a really good job with Nola. I thought he did a great job with Wheeler. And then obviously Eflin's probably his biggest success story. Finally figuring him out and getting his curveball dancing.
Yes.
And you look at the work he's done with those three. You have to believe that he could translate it to some bullpen arms, but you got to give him something to work with.
Yes.
You can't just throw out the same slop you did this season and expect him to turn minor league talent into major league closers. It's just not how it works.
It doesn't happen. It's just, and And as we all know, they blew 14 saves. So if you take 7 of those, half of those, turn them into wins, there's the division, pretty much, right? Or at least play.
I mean, you know what's even crazier? If you just take off one of those, you make the playoffs.
Well, that's true, too. That's right. That's true. Oh, my gosh. That is true. You're right. I'm looking at the bigger picture and the bigger number, but you're right. One of those, boom, in the playoffs. And then who knows where you go from there. So, David, we haven't talked before. So what are your thoughts on this season? Before we hit the Eagles, what are your thoughts on this season? Is it an asterisk season for you? What are your thoughts?
I mean, you're always going to have to look at it with an asterisk just because, it's 60 games compared to 162. That's quite a big difference. I think whoever wins the championship, though, however, I think they're a legitimate champion. I think everyone was in the same boat where this is tough. You have, a hectic off season where you have spring training and then summer training and then, now we're playing baseball games. There was a lot of injuries to every team across the league, no fans, weird travel schedules. So whoever wins it, I give them full credit. You showed up, you were ready to play, you were prepared, you got your guys healthy and in shape. I'm not sure if I'm rocking with the 18 playoff format. I don't know if that needs to stick around. I don't know if the 7-inning doubleheaders needs to stick around. But, whoever wins it, I give them full props for coming in and being prepared when everyone else wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's good. So you brought up two other issues, and actually there's 3. They better damn well not start with that second base, guy in second base. That's just Bush League, Little League crap. So they need to stay. Hopefully that won't happen. I don't want the doubleheaders, 7-inning. That's because that's not going to happen next year anyway. Knock on wood, we have a regular season. There weren't many doubleheaders anyway. But I do, when you look at the playoff format, for me, why wouldn't you? Because, and depending upon how they work it. Now, here's the caveat is, what do the division winners get? They should get a bye. Okay, so you work it out where there's got to be a way for them to work it out where those division winners do get a bye into this little maybe 8-team tournament. Because, listen, who wouldn't want extra revenue? Who doesn't want to, as a fan, get to a playoff game? And there would be more. So I kind of like it, to the expansion of it. But who knows if they're going to do that or not. You don't know.
I think finding a healthy middle ground. I think 8 teams is too many. I think 6 or 7 is maybe the sweet spot where you look at a team like the Marlins. Traditionally, they don't make the playoffs this year. They're clearly a playoff team. I mean, they swept the Cubs. So I think finding that healthy middle ground where you get some of those sleeper teams at least into a playoff series, I think is important.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a note. I think I thought of this a couple of weeks ago and forgot about it. About the playoffs for next year. Would you want an 8-team playoff? I'm gonna make a poll and put that out there. Okay, let's switch gears to football because you're involved with a lot of that too, right?
I am. That is correct.
And Sixers. Listen, I got to give you Sixers because you're the lead writer, right? Let's hit that first real quick. So, Doc Rivers, you like it?
Yeah, no, I like Doc. I mean, it reminds me a lot of the Joe Girardi hire in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of a directionless franchise. You're all over the place. Your front office is a mess. You bring in a guy he's had some troubles in the last couple of years, especially in LA, but for the most part, everyone respects his voice. He's won championships. He's won playoff games. You bring him in. You hope he can kind of settle the storm. And if Elton Brand wants to go do something stupid, Doc Rivers can step in and be like, "Hey, man, that's not going to work." Mm-hmm. And at the very least, he's going to just kind of calm everybody down and add a tenured voice to the room.
Right. And I think somebody has got to talk to Simmons about taking shots. I mean, to me, and I'm sure to many, many, many people, how do you have a player who doesn't shoot from the outside? I don't get it. I just don't understand it. And Brett Brown couldn't do a damn thing about it. So I think Doc might have, he's got to sit his butt down and say, "Listen, Ben, you have the talent. You're a real good defensive player. I need to get you shooting from the outside." How does that happen?
Yeah, it'll be interesting how he approaches it. I mean, I think his Doc's ability to unlock Blake Griffin offensively towards the end of his tenure with the Clippers, I thought was pretty special because Blake Griffin didn't have a natural offensive game at all, and he found a way to get him involved, and he was highly productive. I think you could see a similar thing with Ben, where you kind of force him into situations where he has to score the ball. Is he going to be shooting 5 threes a game? No. But is he going to be maybe operating at the high post or in the mid-range a little bit more? Yeah, I think that's going to happen this season.
Yeah. I mean, he's got to turn him around. But, what's David, you watched a lot of basketball, right? And I'm thinking, as somebody who, as an athlete, not obviously recreational, but this guy's a professional basketball player. He knows how to shoot the basketball. It's got to be, to me, it's just a total confidence thing in his head, don't you think?
Yeah, it's definitely mental. And in all honesty, Simmons is the guy I'm worried about the least on this team. I think even without a jump shot, he's the most special player on the roster in terms of what he can do defensively and offensively. Mm-hmm. We've seen him drop triple doubles without ever taking a jump shot. So I'm not too worried about him.
True.
If he can develop one, then he's the second coming of LeBron James, and we'll win championships. So that's fun. But I'm not too worried about him. I think he's still so young. He's got so much to his game. I think he'll continue to go in the right direction. I mean, he was third team All NBA this year, so I think he's still going in the right path.
Okay, all right. I wanted to get your thoughts on that. All right, let's go to the Eagles. First place, 1, 2, and 1. Go figure. How about that, huh?
Yes, sir. First place.
So it's interesting in watching this team. The win was a good one. Any win is a good one. Carson played a little bit better. Dougie made some decent play calls. A little bit of misdirection these days. Talked with Brendan earlier about last week and this week about them not going long. Not throwing any deep balls, even though you don't have, quote, anybody who can, quote, catch it or do that. Don't you think you still have to do it?
Yeah, and they tried real hard against Washington to throw in the deep ball. I mean, they were streaking Deshaun and Jalen pretty much every single play, and it just wasn't working. I mean, Washington's pass rush was so elite, and then they kind of went away from it completely against Los Angeles, and then they kind of threw it back in against Cincinnati, and now Jalen's hurt, and Deshaun's hurt, and Alshon's hurt, and Quez Watkins hurt. So at some point, they don't have the personnel who can run those types of plays. You saw the Travis Fulgham catch. That was incredible. Wentz can still hit those throws. So it's frustrating. This wasn't the team we expected it to be. We're in first place, but we're not very good. This isn't a very good football team. But having these little wins where you have guys like Fulgham play a big role, Alex Singleton play a big role, Cravon LeBlanc, Jannard Avery had a really good game.
Yes.
Getting those little developmental projects, getting them wins on prime time, Sunday Night Football, that's so big for this team going forward.
Yeah, it was interesting to, guys you've never heard of came out of the blue and made an impact. Is Singleton going to stay on the roster and play? I don't know. I'm thinking he is. Who else do they have? I don't know enough about the individual roster makeup. The Fulgham, I hope he stays because, he proved himself that he could, in fact, make an impact. You got Miles Sanders. You got Ertz, who was going to probably get... Don't you think Ertz is going to get double-teamed for the rest of the season? Because they know they don't have another... Well, Richard Rodgers played pretty good, right? He made some catches. So, now maybe... What do you think? Maybe the other teams, they have to watch this kid because if they double Ertz, they can't double both tight ends, right? So if they're both in at the same time, so what are your thoughts on the tight end situation?
Yeah, and I mean Ertz has struggled to get going here, and he's seeing a lot of double teams, and he's dealing with the contract negotiations. And I have a few connections into that. I'm gonna say right here on air, I would assume Ertz gets traded at the end of the season. I think that's pretty likely at this point in time. He's not happy, and obviously he's not getting the football. Dallas Goedert being out hurts. But they brought in Hakeem Butler, and that's a fun project where he was a wide receiver in Arizona that they're going to try to convert to tight end.
Oh, really?
So maybe you see him get – yeah. So he didn't play. He wasn't active, but they're going to try to convert him from – he's a big dude. He's a 6'5", big kid.
Wow.
They're going to try to convert him from wide receiver to tight end, maybe throw him in there along alongside Richard Rodgers, because you're right, the Eagles love using their tight ends. That's why they drafted Dallas Goedert to put alongside Ertz. So if you can get some more production out of that group, that should help Wentz a lot in theory too.
Yes. What about him? Don't you think he needs to continue to roll out, and Duggan needs to move that pocket because he's surely much better on the run.
Oh, 100%. He's so much better on the move. I tweeted out a video this morning. It was all the clips cut up of him running last night or 2 nights ago in the win. He looks phenomenal. Like, he looks healthy. He looks like he trusts his knee again. When he's moving, when he's running, when he's dancing, it's really, really tough to guard. Even 49ers, they were hurt, but they were a very well-coached defense. And they had no answer for Carson when he was on the move.
So Dougie needs to take advantage of that. I mean, again, if you're looking at... So what would be your ideal... Dave, what would be your ideal play... I'm trying to think of the word. Why can't I think of the word? How would you attack this Pittsburgh team this weekend on your offense?
Yeah, so obviously Pittsburgh has an extremely talented pass rush. It's going to be similar to Washington in the sense that they're going to be throwing waves of dudes at Carson. So I think step one, do your very best to establish that run game. Get Miles Sanders as many touches in the first half as you can, because he's been burning out a little bit with some fatigue issues. So get that going. And then from there, like you just mentioned, get Carson on the move. Play action, rollouts, those read options. I mean, those read options were fun. Like, they didn't know what to do to stop it. Get him on the move. Get your young receivers in space. Get John Hightower in space. Get Zach Ertz in space. You can rotate some of your other backs in. And then from there, just let Carson be Carson. I think they've tried so hard the last couple of years to force him into a pocket passer, a Tom Brady-esque player. That's not who he is. He kind of thrives in these chaotic environments where he's running up and down the field, slinging the ball 40 yards. That's Carson. So let Carson be Carson. Get him on the move. Try to take that pass rush out of the game by extending the pocket.
Yeah, it's. I think everybody agrees with that too. We've all seen it for several years, and you saw it again on Sunday. I mean, yes, he was able to elude that rush. He got around that end, and people hate him diving. I don't think he's ever going to learn how to slide, and I guess that's okay because this is who he is. So it's going to be interesting. Again, they've got to mix it up. They got to give it, I think, to Sanders more. Get it? They need to continue to get him in space. This kid can run. This kid he's got moves. I'm even amazed how he gets 5 yards of carry up the middle. I keep complaining about him going up the middle. It's like, but then again, you look and you go, he's getting 5 yards a pop. You can't beat that, right?
Yeah, he can play. And like I mentioned, he's been struggling with some fatigue issues to where he's not been as active as we would have hoped. But I think as the season progresses, he's going to get healthier and healthier. And yeah, I mean, if he's getting 5 yards to pop up the middle, keep running it up the middle. And then you can start working in the outside stuff a little bit more.
Yeah, so Doug's got to, again, we're not NFL coaches, but we're fans and we've watched the game for a long time. And it's all about using your team, your players' strengths, and moving the ball and working on the defense's weaknesses. I'm understanding that the secondary of the Steelers isn't that good. Is that correct?
They're okay. They have Minkah Fitzpatrick back at safety. He's a very good safety. Joe Hayden at corner. He's a good corner. People aren't going to be open. Again, this is a game where we're going to have to kind of go into the expectations, similar with San Francisco, where we're going to be the wild underdogs. It's going to be chaotic. It'll be another kind of ugly win if they do pull it out. But I just think having those expectations where if we can see some good things from Carson again, some good things from some of the young wide receivers, Jordan Mailata at left tackle was really good Sunday night.
Yes.
I'd love to see that continue. So if we kind of go with those expectations, who cares if they win or lose, whatever, we're 1-2-1. Going with those expectations of seeing the young guys develop, see Carson get back on track, seeing some better play calling from Doug, I think regardless of the result, we'll be able to walk out of there feeling good about the direction of the team.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's small steps based on what we've seen so far. I think Carson did that this past week. Mailata for sure. Fulgham has come out of the woodwork, so to speak. I really hope I just like to see him throw long early just to open it up a little bit, whether it's incomplete or not. Don't throw the pick, but open it up. There's got to be so there's a possibility that the defender falls down. Guess what? You got an open player down the road, down that field. Carson gets it to him. Quick touchdown. I would love to see that happen at the beginning of the game, and then it's got to put the defense on alert that this is something that they might continue to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Carson has a cannon. He's got one of the biggest arms in the NFL. The more you can utilize that and let him play to his advantage, the better the team's going to look.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where I just would love to see it happen. Throw the ball long, open it up, first side of downs. Somebody go long, put a good move on somebody. Oh my gosh, they're open. Can Carson get it to him? We'll see, but at least you made the try, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we saw with the Fulgham touchdown. No one thought Fulgham was going to be running a streak. He ran it. He happened to get open. Carson put it right on the money, touchdown. You never know. So it's 100% worth trying because I do think that's one of Carson's best attributes, is airing that thing out.
Yes, absolutely. Real quickly, going back to baseball. So, Stros are winning 5-2, bottom of the ninth. A's are up. So what are you thinking with these baseball players? Who do you see getting through the to the NLCS, ALCS? Who's your predictions, David?
So initially, I went on my baseball podcast. I'm gonna plug that real quick. Bullpen Blues on TSN Radio.
Okay.
And I said Tampa and San Diego, and that was my prediction. And I'm not feeling too good about that anymore. The Yankees look really, really good, and the Dodgers look really, really good. But I'm going to ride with that prediction. I'm going to stay true to it because I made that before the playoffs start. I think San Diego's playing with some real energy, and I think Tampa Bay's pitching is too deep. So that's what I'm going to ride with for the moment, but I'm not feeling too confident about it.
Yeah. I would love to see San Diego win. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think, again, underdog. Who doesn't love an underdog, right?
Yeah.
Tampa Bay, coming in with the better record, they were pretty good all season, looking 40-20. But it's that Yankee magic. We'll see what happens tonight. Love to see Tampa. Love to see that series go to 5. I predicted that Atlanta, though I wanted Miami. I don't want either of them, but I don't like Atlanta, so I want to see Miami again, underdog. And then the Astros in Oakland, they're man on first now, nobody out. If they hold on, they got Oakland's backs to the wall. So if they win the Astros, I don't see them losing 3 straight. So it should be interesting. All right, very good. All right, David. Listen, thank you for calling. I appreciate all of your input on baseball and football, and even a little bit of basketball. That's a triple header there. I appreciate it.
Oh, Mitch, thank you so much for having me on, man. I had an absolute blast.
And listen, folks, follow David at David Esser, ESSER. He's the lead Sixers writer at Philly Sports Network and the expert editor for at Section 215. He's got a bunch of information. He's awesome, and it's great. So, David, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Mitch, thanks so much again, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, take care. All right, folks. Like I said, triple header there. And we're going to have our third guest tonight, Dan R. Epstein, calling in just a few seconds. Dan is with the International, again, I say international, Internet Baseball Writers Association of America. And we're going to talk some more baseball, talk playoffs, talk a little bit of next year. So hopefully he will give me a call and get him on. I believe this is him right now. Daniel, good evening. How are you, sir?
Doing all right, Mitch. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. I was glad to see that you pronounce your name Epstein.
Yes.
Because we are Bernsteins in my family, and we have a group up in Boston who are Bernsteins, and we get along, but they always give us heck for that Bernstein stuff. We don't. My dad, he's their cousin. I said, Dad, where'd they get this? He said, I don't know. They made it up somewhere. I guess just to be.
I think you should stop getting along with them. I really think that's grounds for fighting right there.
Dan, I know. It's like, where does this come from? They're nice. They're very nice people. We don't see them a lot. They are Boston fans.
Even worse.
We feel the same way. Dan, who's your team?
I'm a Yankees fan, actually.
I knew that. I absolutely knew it. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Yankees in our conversation here tonight. I'm looking at the game, so let's talk about them now. So they beat the heck out of the Rays yesterday. How about that, huh?
Well, they scraped by them for 8 innings and then beat the heck out of them in the 9th.
Right.
To be fair, that was a nail biter of a game, a back and forth game. And actually, we were recording our podcast episode, the IBWAA podcast that came out this morning, as the game was on. And the other people on the podcast were giving me a little bit of trouble because as we were recording, G-Man Choi hit the go-ahead home run that put the Rays up 3-2, and I'm reacting to that on the air. So that wasn't great, but they came back, they came around, they were winning 4-3 after the last several innings, and then Giancarlo Stanton blew it open in the 9th and put us all to let us all go to sleep about 15 minutes earlier.
Yeah, I mean it's the one thing I can't stand. No offense, Dan. But that Yankee mystique, and that the Cardinals lost, that damn Cardinal mystique. It's like the baseball gods are with the Yankees and the Cardinals for the most part, and it's so annoying. But we'll let that go. We'll just let it go.
Well, it's funny because my wife is a Cardinals fan. I'm a Yankees fan, so. Right, so our children are doomed. They're going to grow up rooting for rain delays and work stoppages or something.
Oh man, yeah, that's going to be interesting. How many? So, what are the ages of the kids, if I may ask?
They're 9 and 5.
Okay, so are they into? Obviously, they got to be into baseball.
Getting there. The 9-year-old is starting to show a little more of an interest.
Okay.
5-year-old, not quite yet, but
Okay.
She's more interested in My Little Pony and things like that. There's there's time to grow into
into baseball,
real world things.
Into the sports, yes. Okay. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about this season. I always ask folks I haven't spoken with, what is your take on this season? Is it an asterisk? And it's so funny, Dan, because when it started, I was so conflicted. And you get conflicted more so when your team is winning, and let's say if the Phillies, my team, were in it, and let's say if they won the World Series, would I call it an asterisk season? Probably not, but that's because my team's winning. So how do you feel? What is your overall feeling about this baseball season?
Well, Mitch, I hate to break it to you, but the Phillies didn't win.
Okay, Dan, nice to talk to you, buddy.
Well, thanks for not hanging up on me right there. I don't believe that there should be an asterisk. I really don't.
Okay, tell me
think
why.
that
I need some education. I need someone to convince me why it's not.
Well, first of all, asterisks themselves, as records go, are a myth. Even Roger Maris, when he had 61 home runs and everyone talked about an asterisk, there was never actually an asterisk in the record books next to his name. That was just a commonly held myth. So there's never actually been an asterisk in the MLB record books, as far as I know.
Right.
So it's just not something that we do. But if you're going to go through the process of having a season, no matter what it looks like, if you're going to have a process of these grotesquely expanded playoffs, whatever they may look like, and you're going to have a champion at the end of it, then that champion, you give them the World Series trophy, it's the World Series trophy. They won based on the parameters that were set out at the time. That's the best that they can do. But no, I don't like these. I don't like these playoffs. I don't like at all what they mean for the future of the game. I think that they are going to have dramatic economic repercussions throughout baseball, because the purpose of it is to make it so that you don't have to be a great team. You just kind of have to be a okay team.
Okay.
You know, in a normal year, if you win 85 games under this system, you're definitely in the playoffs.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So if you're a team that is already an 85 to 90-ish win team, well, there's no incentive for you to go out and acquire players. There's no reason for you to look at the Yankees, for example. There's no reason for them to go out and sign Garrett Cole if they knew this playoff system is in place.
Mm-hmm.
So, because they were already at least an 85-win team to begin with, and then once you get to the playoffs, honestly, all of this is a crapshoot. I mean, these short series, I mean, they're a pure coin flip.
But let me ask you a question. Can I ask you a quick question, though?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Here's my thinking on this. I like it, but is the main complaint on this way, the way it's going, is it because the division winners didn't get a bye? Because I think that would be the incentive. Obviously, it is for everybody, right? With this wild card stuff. And so, because I said to somebody at work the other day, I said, I like the A team, but is it really fair that you don't get anything for winning the division? So is that kind of where you're going with this? Is that what you're thinking about?
Well, I think that that's a big part of it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But, you look at the economic implications there. I mean, let's say the Yankees don't sign Cole. Cole obviously signed somewhere else, but for less money because there's less market competition.
Mm-hmm.
So then the good teams are have no reason to spend their money, which, you want to get into athletes being overpaid and everything like that. That's fine. But the problem is that money isn't going back to the fans. It's not going back to the taxpayers. It's not going back into any of those people. That's just that would just, fatten up the Steinbrenner investment portfolio, right?
Right.
So that doesn't do anyone any good unless your name happens to be Steinbrenner, which, again, that's not Steinbrenner. But anyway, so that's just – I really think that the economic interests and the economic manipulations here, as always, that's what this is all really about. That's what MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred and the owners are always really trying to do. They're looking for ways to keep the 30 people that own the baseball teams to be able to keep even more of their, multi-billion dollar profits every year. So that's what's really happening here. And I, for one, would rather see them invest that money into trying to put a more competitive product on the field.
Yeah, that and marketing to younger kids. I really think, and I've been on this bandwagon for a while. The only way to increase your audience is to get the younger kids involved. How many of these, let me ask you a question. So I'm 64, so I was, went through the 60s and 70s and fell in love with baseball back then, and all the players, the Hall of Famers that we got to watch all the time. I don't know that it's like that anymore for these. How many 9-year-old, 10-year-olds are watching these games? How many love baseball? How many are going to continue to come back because their parents who are 30s and 40s aren't really into baseball either? That's the issue that I see. So you really got to start grassroots. And
there's so many ways in which they're not doing that. Yeah. There's so many ways in which they're failing with that younger generation. First and foremost, look at what's happening in my house right now. As I mentioned, my 9-year-old, my older one, is just starting to show some interest in baseball. Well, it's a school night. He's getting ready for bed. I'll be tucking him in during the first inning of the Yankees playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's just no reason for that. I mean, why are you starting these playoff games? This is what you're really trying to sell your sport. This is where you're trying to sell it most of all. And you're putting these East Coast matchups as your late games so that people can't even see the end of them, and especially not children. I mean, that doesn't make sense. Oh, look at this. Right now, you got 4 playoff series, right? Mm-hmm. 2 of them are between 2 East Coast teams.
Right.
And one of them is a Pacific time zone versus Central time zone, and another is 2 Pacific time zone teams.
Right.
So the timing, if you're going to have all 4 play on the same day, that should be driven by where those fans most likely are. I mean, I know the Yankees are an international brand, but come on. This is not rocket science here. Let's just play the games when people are awake.
And I think, like you said, they're looking at who the fans are, and I'm going to go, after the show, I'm going to go watch some baseball because I can, because I'm an adult and I don't have to go to bed. But it's been this way, Dan. Yeah, I mean, it's been this way for many, many, many years. It wasn't like this back when I was watching the Mets win the World Series in '69. They won I couldn't even watch the damn game because I was at school. I mean, how crazy was that? You had to listen to Cleon Jones make that last catch on the radio. I was like, wait a minute, how could I not? I'm at school. I want to see this. So yeah, but I think, and one of the things they have to do, I know some teams do this. Because when I've gone to visit other ballparks, you look and see what's going on at the ballpark. A lot of teams do a great job of bringing former players back and doing autograph sessions an hour before the game. Anytime a kid can meet a player, I remember going back years when I was at home in Livingston, New Jersey. My dad was a member of the synagogue men's club, and they had Gene Michael, former New York Yankee, right, come to talk to the men's club, and I was there, and I became a Gene Michael fan ever since then because I got to meet the guy and get his autograph. So however that can happen, and again, there's so much involved. And I'm not talking the COVID year. I'm talking regular year.
Normal circumstances.
Normal circumstances. How can we get baseball engaged with these younger kids? Not just a one-off, on a regular basis,
Well, I think the players do the best that they can. They only have a limited amount of free time during the season, and they spend it in their charitable endeavors. They're out there signing autographs before the game. I don't think you lay this on the players. And in fact, that's not their job. Their job is to play baseball. Their job is not to market themselves. That is Rob Manfred's job. That is that's the team's job to work on their marketing. But it goes back to the quote that that Rob Manfred had about Mike Trout at the All-Star game maybe 2 years ago it was, when now Mike Trout is he's Mike Trout. He's a legend, right? Yes. And Manfred is criticizing him for not marketing himself better. Are you kidding me? That's Manfred's job. What kind of commissioner are you if you can't market Mike Trout?
Yeah, so
let
me ask you a question. So let's go to the other sports. So forget hockey because let's just push that aside for a second. So let's go to basketball. Who's marketing LeBron?
Basketball is a little bit different, but the league does that to an extent. LeBron himself does that to an extent. Mm-hmm. The apparel deals that all the NBA players sign, they do plenty of that. With like Nike or Adidas or like Under Armour, all the apparel companies, the sneaker companies. And in fact, if you look at the last time the MLB had a player that was marketed anywhere close to that well, it was really Derek Jeter. And who was responsible for that? It was the companies. It was Ford. It was Gatorade,
Okay, yeah.
So that's a big part of it. But the MLB has to do a better job selling that brand to those marketing companies. They got to be like, hey, we've got Mike Trout here. Nike, we want you to come in. We really want you to make a big deal about this guy. We want you to make him a household name because he's going to perform like he's worth it. And he has, yes. But for whatever reason, they haven't gotten on board with it that well.
Yeah. I mean, again, the fans, the adult fans, know Mike Trout. How many others, whether it be women or kids, know Mike Trout? You're right. I don't see him on any commercials whatsoever. When I'm watching sports and watching the playoffs, he's not non-existent.
You see a couple now and then. But the other part of it is that it's not just Mike Trout.
Right.
MLB has a long-standing history of taking players with personalities and telling them that they need to tone it down. They should be doing the exact opposite. You know, you look at some of these young players with, bat flips and bringing their culture into the game and their excitement and all that. Who doesn't love that?
Yeah,
other than, opposing managers. And so MLB comes in and they come in and they're like, you got to knock this stuff off. That's not the way we play the game. We get some, old grizzled journalist that says, oh, well, Joe DiMaggio never would have done it that way. But, this is fun. Why are we taking the fun out of baseball?
Well, and you look at the touchdown celebrations now, but they were allowed to do that, right? The bat flips. Listen, I worked at a summer camp a couple of years ago, and I was the batting cage specialist. So one of the things I ended up doing was I had a bat flip contest. It was a riot.
Right.
Why can't we have a bat flip contest at these places and see who's got the best bat flip? You're right. That's a
They should be doing that at the home run derby.
Yes, exactly.
They should be doing that All-Star Weekend.
You're exactly right. That is so true. Because, it's different. It's the kids love it. And the fans love it. Like the basketball, all-star basketball and hockey skills competition, the dunk competition. Let's make it something that the people want. Not just hit home runs and listen to, though Chris Berman wasn't there this past year or 2 years ago. All right, enough. Let's just have some good conversation. And what did you think? So I have another question for you. During, I think it was, who was mic'd in the outfield? Was that an Oakland A's player? Who was that? Was that Semien that decided to do that? And
I'm not sure,
I'm
actually.
trying to think who that was. I'm thinking, why the hell are you marketing a guy? Why are you having mic'd on a playoff game? Who's allowing this to happen? Listen, we all love to hear what goes on behind the scenes, right? That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Let
me talk to a player in the dugout. What was your thought on this pitch? What were you looking for? How'd you hit that? The manager. But really, I was appalled that a team would allow, a manager would allow a player, and ESPN, it was ESPN, to mic a player. Obviously, they got to get permission to let them do it. But talk about concentration. How does that happen? You can easily see how can you legitimately be concentrating on the pitch at hand in a playoff game when you're talking to somebody in the other ear?
I don't know if you can. I've seen that work during spring training.
Yeah.
Where, that's spring training. Who cares?
Yeah.
Mookie Betts was mic'd and giving an interview while he's playing right field.
Right.
And I remember, he was. Someone hit a ball into the right field corner, and as he's chasing after it, he's doing the interview. He's like, "Oh, I'm not getting to this one, boys."
That's right.
Yes. That was hilarious. Logan Morrison gave an interview while he was batting. But again, that's spring training. Who cares? This doesn't matter, right? In the middle of a game, let alone a playoff game,
that's nuts.
I don't know. And honestly, if you're not interviewing, most of the time, all you're going to get is grunts and groans and kind of weird, inaudible noises. So that just doesn't really make for great TV. It's let's listen to Marcus Semien as he fields this ball.
Yeah.
And then it's really 10 seconds of silence and maybe a grunt in
running with the uniform rubbing against his microphone, right?
Right. I just don't think that's terribly entertaining or enlightening.
No, exactly. Let me get to your work with the IBWAA.
Sure.
You're a co-director. So what does that mean? What do you do?
So the IBWAA is the Internet Baseball Writers Association of America. It was, just a brief backstory. It was founded 11 years ago by Howard Cole, who, really built it from scratch. And then, my partner, Jonathan Becker, and I, who is a Phillies fan, I will note.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, he is. So we took it over from him in May, not by force. He was looking for a way out. So, we're cool.
Yeah.
But, since then, since we took it over in May, we've had a lot of initiatives and projects that we've put into place, and we've really had very, very rapid growth over the last few months. We've started member Zoom meetings for people to connect with each other and, talk about baseball, especially since all our members are, baseball writers and baseball podcasters, baseball content creators. So getting them in a virtual room together has been really cool to talk about different things. We have started our own podcast where we highlight different IBWAA members in every episode with interviews and things like that. We've increased our social media presence. This week, we just launched our newsletter, with original content written by a different IBWAA member each day, which has been so awesome to be able to read a totally different perspective on baseball every day, because everyone is baseball is just too big for everyone to be an expert in all of it. But each of us is an expert in our own little piece of it. Yes. Whether you're someone who covers the Mariners and you know the Mariners really well, or you cover prospects in the California League, or you cover baseball in Australia, or you're a baseball historian, whatever the case may be, you're going to write about something that pertains to your little fiefdom of baseball, as it were, and to be able to provide that to readers every day so that they can kind of expand their baseball horizons as baseball readers and consumers. That I think is something that's really special. And of course, the real reason we're doing it is to provide platforms for our writers and our members to showcase themselves. So that's gone off really well so far. We've got an amazing editorial team that's doing it, and the revenue from that goes to the writers and the editors as well. So that's really what it's all about in terms of. We're not doing this as a major money-making venture. We're doing this to, uplift the baseball content community, because, so many people work so hard for often little or no money, and they just they do it for love. They do it for love of the game. They do it for love of sharing their love of the game. And we just, everything that we do with the association is about uplifting them and promoting them and seeing if we can connect people and give them a little bit bigger audience.
Yeah, it's really good. I am getting your baseball FYI information too, and that's great. That's
another great newsletter. Where that's where I do my primary writing, is at Baseball FYI, which is a newsletter weekly that's free to subscribe. Subscription, but there's no reason not to do it. Free content delivered to your email inbox. And we've had some incredible writers that have joined this project that I've been a part of since January when I left Beyond the Box Score. And I'm just really grateful to be a part of it, because, I have just so much freedom to spread my wings as a writer. And I've been able to put together some pieces that I'm really proud of. So I write there every week.
It's great.
And
Listen,
that's
Dan,
outstanding.
Yeah, Dan, it's really good. I really like when I get it, I go, oh, I'm going to read this. I click on it immediately, because they're really, and it's written well, it's easy to read. And for anybody who wants to find it, go find baseball, folks. Go find it. At Baseball FYI, you'll go there and you'll see an opportunity to subscribe. It's a really, like I said, a lot of different pieces, which is really cool. Also, it's not the same stuff every day or every week when I get it. It's just so different. So congrats on that. That's just a fun read for sure.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And that is actually the website. It's baseball.fyi.
Right.
So, yeah.
So folks, get there. Get there, and if you're interested in some real good baseball stuff. So what's coming up for you, Daniel R. Epstein, in the terms of the next newsletter? Can you give us some information? Can you do a little tweak, a little tease?
Well, haven't figured out exactly what my topic is going to be yet. I try not to think about that too far in advance. See, in our group chat with the writers and everything of the Baseball FYI newsletter, I'm kind of known for, putting something out there on like Thursday, saying like, all right, I'm going to write about X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. And then, I write my articles usually on Sunday morning, and, the newsletter comes out on Monday. So then like Saturday or Sunday I'll come around and be like, yeah, remember how I said I was going to write about X, Y, and Z? No, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm over that. I'm going to write about ABC now. So, today is Tuesday. So if I could give you a sneak preview, I would. But I try not to come up with these things too far in advance, because I end up finding something else I'd rather write about anyway. So
changing it up, right?
Yeah, I got no sneak preview for you, unfortunately.
Right, well, that's no problem. Hey, I put you on the spot. I appreciate the honest answer. That's all I can ask for, right?
Right? That's my process. Is that's my writing process, to get all haughty. just abandoning topics left and right, and flitting from flower to flower until I have to actually publish something.
Yeah, and that's fine, because all of us, again, like, something hits you that you say, wait a minute, this is better. I like this better, and you can. That's the freedom you have to do that, which is great.
If I had to take a guess, I would say it's probably something playoff related.
I would think so. I would think so. That's where I was going to go right now. So it looks like Clevenger's pitching tonight, which is huge. Hopefully he's healthy, because you heard he might not go, but he is going to go against Walker Buehler. So that should be a very, very interesting game to watch. So look forward to that. I'm not going to be able to stay up for it, but that's going to be a fun series.
Interested to see what kind of stuff Clevenger has.
Yes, exactly.
'Cause, it's not like he had a rehab stint or, a tune-up start or anything like that. No, you're just jumped right into the playoffs against the Dodgers, who are one of the best teams that we've actually ever seen.
Yeah.
They're so good.
And they're
so, and not only that, but what kind of length will he be able to give? Is this really just going to be a glorified bullpen game? Which is fine. The Padres have an excellent bullpen. I really think this is the best series so far. I'm sorry. It just is. I really think that the Dodgers and the Padres might be the two best teams in all of baseball right now. Mm-hmm. They've obviously been going at it all year. They're obviously going to go at it for the next several years, which is just going to be so much fun to watch.
Yes.
And I'm really looking forward to this series. It's going to be great.
Should be a lot of fun, just like I've had with you, sir. Daniel, thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. It was so fun to talk to you. Enjoying your content. I admire those of like artists I talked about earlier, things that I can't do. I am not a terrific writer, and that's why I appreciate all of what you do as a writer, because it's fun to read, and the content is what I like. So I appreciate what you do.
Well, thank you very much, Mitch. I really enjoyed my time here, and thank you for everything that you're doing. I appreciate what you do, because this is spreading the love of baseball just as much as anything that we can write. So thank you for the opportunity, and I'd be happy to come back anytime.
That would be great, Daniel. Maybe we'll do this soon. Maybe a little after the World Series, we'll talk about the offseason, free agency.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. That's great. Dan R. Epstein from Baseball FYI. He is the co-director of the Internet Baseball Writers Association of America, co-host of that podcast. Dan, have a great night. I appreciate you coming on.
You got it. Thanks again.
All right, take care. All right, we are just about ready to be done. Thank you to Brendan. Thank you to David Esser and Dan R. Epstein, who you just heard, for coming on tonight. Congratulations, Roger Nussbaum, at Random Roger. You won the Louis Tion print. We'll get that out to you. Try and get that in the mail tomorrow. To all of the artists at the National Negro League Baseball Museum virtual art show, Anika, Greg, Phil, Andy, Matthew, Ben, Blake, Dugout Mugs, Mark Mosley, and others. Go check that out. NLBMart.com. NLBMart.com. All right. Following me, Lou. Sweet Lou, baby, is coming up. The real Captain Lou is coming up. He's talking about the Big 12. Is it more relevant than Big 10 football? He says, as of October 24th, they won't be. He's going to discuss that tonight on the Captain Lou Extravaganza, coming up immediately following me in about a minute and a half. Thank you for being here, folks. I appreciate it immensely. I hope that you've enjoyed the show. You can hear the replays. 12 Ounce Sports will be replayed on Twitter shortly after the show ends. Talk to your friends. Tweet it out. We love having the people listening get all sorts of other information that we have on the shows. That's why they're replayed all the time. Very, very appreciative of you all listening. I will be back next week Brendan will start us off as usual, talking about the Eagles game against the Steelers. And we will have, most likely, one, if not two, additional special guests. Check my Facebook and my Twitter feeds for those folks coming up. All right, that's it for me. Appreciate y'all listening. The Burn with Mitch on 12 Ounce Sports. Signing off. Handing it over to Lou and the Sweet Lou Extravaganza. Everybody have a great week. Take care.